Transportation Solutions, mile after mile. When you think big, think Boyer Trucks. Redefining the road.
You're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show, presented by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and Orthopedic Institute on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN. Back to your host, Rich Rosti.
And welcome back to the Kurtiss Riggs Show. And this weekly game recap with head coach Kurtiss Riggs is brought to you by the Storm Away Game Viewing Party hosts. That's Eastway Bowl and Eastway Lounge. And the next viewing party is going to be on March 20th as the Sioux Falls Storm faces the Colorado Crush. That's a 4 o'clock Central game time. And also it's going to be on our sister radio station. It'll be on KELQ 107.9 FM. Returning to the Kurtiss Riggs Show, he is the host named of this, he is the title name of this show, Kurtiss Riggs. Coach, went up to Green Bay, Wisconsin. It was a nice day up there, and it was a team that you faced that was hadn't had a win this year, had just been defeated very soundly by the Iowa Barnstormers 73-21. And you and I talked about it prior to the game, that the team that you were going to face on the field wanted to put their best foot effort forward for their home fans, and they did that during that game, didn't they?
I thought they played very well. I thought they probably played, as better than they could have expected. I think, looking back, they're probably feeling like some of the drops they had, those are things they could clean up. But I thought the quarterback played much better than I had seen in previous games. I thought the new additions on their offensive line did a very good job. And, the changes they made in their defense, I thought were better. They took a lot of the big plays away that they were giving up by changing up into some zone coverages.
And they had, released 8 players, and they had signed 6 more players. They had changed kickers, and they had made a lot of adjustments in that week, and it was very interesting. They started that first drive. They went down the field and got down the 1-yard line. Then they fumbled. But it was a close game up until maybe the last 4 or 5 minutes in the contest. And a very exciting game. And their fans, they said they had a crowd of about 3,700 people. They got their money's worth, didn't they?
They did, yeah. It was pretty loud in there at times. I think some of that might have been aided a little bit, but either way, it was a fun game to be a part of. And I think, hopefully the fans walked away wanting to come back for some more.
You talked about their quarterback, Matt Barrett. He was 16 of 31. He had 1 interception. He had 4 passing touchdowns, but he had 3 of them to Dorian Buford, and I was quite impressed with that receiver.
Yeah, he had a good burst, and he did a nice job with knowing where to settle. Scheme-wise, their routes, we just did a poor job at times. Our communication, where we've really been strong this year, is in the defensive backfield. And we definitely digressed after this game. I know Coach Hermanson was very displeased about the lack of communication with some simple checks and just not being in the right position for routes that we've seen quite a bit of.
Here's our first highlight.
3rd down and 5. Back to pass. Lorenzo Brown looking right. Now in trouble. Scrambling in the backfield. Gets around. Throws it. End zone. Caught! Yes! Touchdown! Brandon Johnson Farrell against the right wall. Just inside the end zone. Touchdown, Sioux Falls Storm. Lorenzo Brown showing shades of Fran Tarkington.
I had to throw that little extra in there, but he was scrambling around. Then he got a nice pass off and completed the touchdown play.
That was a great play by Lorenzo. I mean, our first read, we were trying to get the ball to Corey, and they had a linebacker just sitting just underneath him, and Lorenzo was able to elude the pressure, get out, and Brandon did a nice job coming back to him, and they had a nice connection there.
You're not old enough to remember Fran Tarkenton. Maybe you've seen some highlights. Not a very big quarterback. I think he was a stretch at 6 feet tall and 175 pounds, something like that. But he made a living by running and being able to scramble to get away from ensuing defensive linemen and be able to complete passes. And that's where that reference comes from. Here's our next highlight.
A 58-yard attempt, and back to receive is Corey Williams if, in fact, it is returnable. 4:56. There's the snap. There's the kick. Blocked! Blocked in the end zone. Picked up there by Ariello, and he moves it out to about the 1-yard line. But I believe Claude Davis might have come up with that block.
Special teams are a huge factor for any football team, but especially in indoor football. Tell us about special teams this year.
I think they've been okay at times. You know, at times we seem to be picking and choosing when we're going to go hard. And I was very displeased by when I watch extra points sometimes. You would see the guys not going very hard, and then all of a sudden, we get on them, and they decide to go hard and get a block. I think that's something you want to consistently do. That's where Nate Floyd was so good. You know, he was using every opportunity to try to set his guys up for that key moment.
And one thing about it, at that particular time, it was a very tight score. I believe it was 26-25. The Storm had a 1-point lead, and getting the ball on the 1-yard line, Mike Tatum wound up getting a rushing touchdown, and then the Storm went up 33-25, and only gave up one more score and wound up scoring yourselves up to 49 points. So that was a critical factor in the contest, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And we try to look at every point as being critical. And we didn't panic when we had a couple of those bad snaps. We were expecting to have some problems with that, but Snoop came in and did a nice job, and Justin does a great job of not worrying about the snaps or the hole getting down. He just kicks through, and we never tried to play catch up. We just kept going with the extra points, and it pays off.
Here's our next highlight.
Corey Williams will be deep on the right. Lorenzo Brown changing the play. Getting it to Mike Tatum. I'm not sure Mike Tatum got the word, and he's going to go through the box. They give the handoff to Mike Tatum. He'll waltz into the end zone on the right corner. For a guy that didn't know the play, it sure got to be a good deal for him a little bit later once he figured it out as he goes into the end zone from 1 yard out. Touchdown, Mike Tatum, his second rushing touchdown.
Is that what happened there, that he didn't quite know, and it kind of by accident got the touchdown?
Well, he couldn't hear the checks, and thankfully I was on the same side as him, and I knew what Lorenzo was checking to, and so I was yelling it at him, and he was able to go. But it was very loud. I was amazed that 3,500, if that's what they had, was that loud. That's why I thought maybe there was some help from somewhere. But either way, it was great to play in. It was fun, and it was good to see Green Bay play with some emotion and really get after us.
Mike Tatum had quite a ball game. He had 4 touchdowns. We'll be talking to him a little bit later, but tell us about what he's brought to the table this year for the Sioux Falls Storm.
He did a nice job with the ball in his hands, but he probably had one of his worst games when the ball wasn't in his hands. He didn't have a very good game blocking, and that's one area he's improved on this year, but he had a poor game this night in that facet of the game.
That's one of the things that's been critical as far as being a part of the Sioux Falls Storm organization. When you're playing on the field, your job is to do something specific, and that will make create a situation where somebody else can be successful, but you have to do your job for them to be successful, and you have to buy into that, and that's something that that's been a part of your credo as far as teaching and coaching the players, isn't it?
Well, and that's something that we've always stressed, that we would get a lot of big name guys that want to come and play for us, and the first thing we would say is, you are not going to be a showcase guy. We're not going to have one guy that a defense can key on, and you've got to be able to do the little things. You've got to be able to run routes to get your teammates open. You've got to be able to block for them to be able to carry the ball, and it's very important to our success.
Here's our next highlight.
Tatum split to the left side. Lorenzo Brown, shotgun formation, Peace to his left. 7-12, clock is counting. Storm by 9, 40-31. Two in motion, one each side. Peace on the handoff. Puts on a shoulder hit on Jennings, and he takes the ball all the way down to the 5-yard line. That's a gain of 7 and a first down. Oh, what a big hit by Peace.
That's something else that you strive to teach your running backs, is that you don't dance, that you just go straight ahead, and that was a play that Pease really took that to heart, didn't he?
Well, he got the message when I told him, you know, he's not on a Dancing with a Celebrity show, because I felt like there was a run earlier where he got through and he started to kind of stutter step a little bit. And you know, we knew we would get him in a one-on-one situation with the corner on that play. And Lorenzo was like, hey, we need 2 yards. Don't dance, just get us the first down. And so Angelo wanted to not only send the message to the DB, but also to his teammates that he can finish his runs.
And he played at Kansas State, didn't he?
He did. Yep, he played at Kansas State, so we've had pretty good success with guys from Kansas State so far.
Yeah, not too bad. James Terry came from there. I think this is our last highlight.
Clock continues to roll. 5:04. 46-31. Sioux Falls Storm, but Green Bay driving. This drive started back at their own 5-yard line. Now they're camped at the Sioux Falls Storm 16. Two in motion to left slot for the Blizzard. Barron to pass. Fires upfield. Oh, is it intercepted? Yes, it is. Picked off by the Sioux Falls Storm. And getting it is Brandon Johnson-Farrell, as he is the one that stepped in for Matt Hermanson. He comes up with an interception.
One thing about those offensive guys, when they catch the football, they can catch it on defense too, can't they, Coach?
Oh, that's so great, Rich. Yeah. Boy, you better believe my receivers were letting the DBs know about how easy it is to play when you see everything in front of you. Yeah, they were quick to point out that BJ comes in for 2 plays and gets a pick in that time span.
Well, Coach, you wind up with the victory, 49-31. What did your team learn in this contest up there, and what were the things that you were emphasizing afterwards?
The biggest thing was, you know, we talked about we're going to get tested, and getting tested is going to be about coming in and having a team get after us, and how do we react? Do we take care of business right away and don't give them a chance, or do we let them play and have to fight through it? And I thought that's what we really did. We went in there and let them hang around and play with us, and they gained a lot of momentum and confidence, and we had to fight through that. So even when you played bad, you still have a test, and that's what we really stressed. Was there was some positives from this. We didn't do as good a job. I thought we had a poor week of preparation. I thought, you know, as coaches, we didn't do a great job putting the guys in the right positions. But it was something that we're going to experience a lot of this year, because we don't have a team, Rich, where we can just show up and dominate. We have a team that could be really good, but we have to be clicking on all cylinders, though.
Well, Coach, congratulations on this win, and we'll talk with you a little bit later about the bye week and also about the games coming up around the league this coming weekend, and also just give folks a little bit of taste of the Colorado Crush. So, Coach, we'll talk to you after a bit.
All right, thanks, Rich.
He is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtiss Riggs, and this segment brought to you by our away game viewing party hosts, Eastway Bowl and Eastway Lounge. They have something for everyone, and our next viewing party is on March 20th as the Storm faces Colorado Crush, 4 o'clock on Sunday, the 20th, as 4 o'clock Central Time. We'll be back with more of the Kurtiss Riggs Show after we pause for this timeout, and you're listening to it right here on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN.
When you think rugged, when you think tough, when you think big, think of the best transportation solutions mile after mile. When you think big, think Boyer trucks. Redefining the road.
What's the smart way to refresh your home? Get inspired by Granite Transformations. See how easy it is to transform your kitchen with gorgeous quartz and granite, plus custom cabinet refacing. Schedule your free in-home design consultation today.
Your body, a remarkable network of bone, tissue, and joints working in perfect harmony. But when injuries occur, that process can be interrupted. At Orthopedic Institute, orthopedic medicine is all we do. We work to get you up and moving again, recreating that perfect harmony, whatever that may be for you. Orthopedic Institute, we're the one to trust to keep your body in motion.
You're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show, presented by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and Orthopedic Institute on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN. Back to your host, Rick Rosti.
And welcome back to the Kurtiss Riggs Show. And this segment brought to you by Wingstop of Sioux Falls. It's more than a meal, it's a flavor experience. And then after the interview, when we go to break, we'll take the third caller at 336-1230, 336-1230 for 4 free tickets to the Saturday game coming up on April 9th. That's at the Denny Sanford Premier Center as the Sioux Falls Storm in a rematch with the Cedar Rapids Titans. And you want to get those free tickets. Again, third caller when we are at break at 336-1230. Joining us via the fan line, defensive back with the Sioux Falls Storm, Elijah Fields. Elijah, thanks for being on the Kurtiss Riggs Show.
Thanks for having me, Rick.
Well, I tell you what, this is your second year with the Sioux Falls Storm, and you grew up in Pittsburgh, so you weren't the cold weather you were kind of used to that being from Pittsburgh, weren't you? That wasn't a big surprise.
No, that wasn't a surprise at all. You know, Pittsburgh, we have cold weather also.
Well, tell us about your time out there at Pitt. You played for Pitt. Who was the coach when you were there?
When I was there, the coach was Dave Wannstedt.
Okay, that's what I thought it was, yeah. Tell us about your time there and what kind of success you had at Pitt.
It was a great time at Pitt, just being a hometown kid, and that was like one of my dreams, just to play for Pitt. It was a good deal, hometown kid. And I think our program pretty much rose from the year I started there until the year I left.
Uh-huh. So what position did you play for Pitt?
I played pretty much the strong safety role.
Uh-huh.
And I played a little bit of nickelback also.
Oh, you did? So
yeah.
After you finished your career at Pitt, did you have any opportunities or tryouts for any other leagues after your college career had ended?
No, I didn't, actually. I did, I think, 2 pro days, but I didn't hear anything back from any teams. So in 2012, I joined the IFL with Cedar Rapids Titans.
Okay. Then how did you wind up here with the Sioux Falls Storm?
After 2013, I was with the Green Bay Blizzard, and during the off-season, Tyler had contacted me, and that's how we worked things out.
So now that you've been with the Sioux Falls Storm, and a lot of players, see a difference coming here as far as the organization. Tell us what it's like for you. You played at other teams, and now that you come to the Sioux Falls Storm, tell us about the positive things and why it's good to be a part of the Sioux Falls Storm organization.
I would say, first of all, it's a great community here. You guys stick together around here. And I would say it's just more of a business-type atmosphere here at Sioux Falls. And the way the coaches and players go about things here is totally different.
And there's quite an extensive defensive playbook, isn't there?
Oh, yes, there is. Coach Hermerson keeps a lot of things. He likes to add new things for us, but overall, I think it's a good thing for us to have different defenses.
We're talking with Elijah Fields, safety with the Sioux Falls Storm, 6'2", 220-pounder, wears number 6 with the Sioux Falls Storm. I want to talk a little bit about what you do away from the Sioux Falls Storm, what you do away from football. And tell us about your activities with the youth.
Back home, I pretty much coach the youth kids football team from my neighborhood. I try to help the kids, stay off the streets and do the right things, try to be a positive role model to them. And I also work at my old high school as a counselor.
Okay.
In Duquesne.
So do you do any of that type of thing here in Sioux Falls?
No, I don't actually, but I had a couple appearances, going out to talk to the young elementary kids and things like that.
So what's it like when you go out and you talk to these elementary kids? And do you wear a jersey? Or do you wear...
yes, you get a chance to wear your jersey or some type of Storm gear. But it's a great deal because, the kids look up to you. So it's always good to be a positive role model to them.
Have you ever had any kid come up to you and ask you a question that made you laugh or said something to you that really showed that you were making a difference by what you were telling them?
The funny thing about it is I got the James Harden beard, things like that because of my beard.
Oh,
but,
sure.
I think the kids definitely look up to us because, they ask us a lot of questions and things like that when they get a chance. So I actually like it. It's a good deal.
Well, it goes into what you like to do is that you like to react with kids or act with kids and to be a mentor to them and to show them how that you can do things the right way, don't you?
Yes, that's one of the things I definitely want to do is interact with the youth and try to teach them the right things and be a positive role model to them.
Now, one of the things that you had written down about things that you like to do is fishing. Tell me about what you like to fish for and things like that.
Oh, man, I love fishing. Actually, like my whole dad's side of the family is from the South, Tuskegee, Alabama. So I came up on fishing. I would say I like to fish for walleye, maybe. That's the best eat to me. But, I pretty much keep them all except for carp and catfish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how do you fish? How do you fix carp?
Oh, man, I just snip the line if I get a carp. I don't want nothing to do with that.
Oh, I see what you mean.
No, I don't want nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with those carp. No, there's nothing that's good about them except for it gives you something to do for a while until you get them cut free and things like that. But walleye is your mainstay. Well, being in South Dakota, that's the fish that everybody wants to catch around here. There's no doubt about that. Do you fish in this area when it gets a little bit nicer weather out?
I haven't fished yet here, Rich, but I want to make it my duty to get some fishing time in this trip.
Well, I tell you what, I think we can maybe work something out for that, and I think that would be a lot of fun to go ahead and drop a line together. That would be a lot of fun.
Yes, man, I'm down for that. I haven't fished in a long time, man.
So, without divulging too many secrets, but when you're fishing walleye, what is the lure that you use? We're talking Elijah Fields, safety with the Sioux Falls Storm. What is the best lure that you had, or what rig do you set up that you have your best luck catching walleyes?
Oh, man, walleyes. Me personally, I actually like to fish with minnows for bait.
Okay.
And sometimes a little maggots. And I'll use a little silver spoons here and there, little rigs like that.
Well, I tell you what,
I'm mainly a minnow guy. I like the minnows.
Okay, well, you're amazing because a lot of fishermen will tell me right to my face, well, it's none of your business what I fish with.
Oh, yeah, true.
Well, I tell you what, Elijah, I really appreciate you being on the Kurtiss Riggs Show. Also appreciate what you are like when we travel, the professionalism that you have on the road, and also the way that you carry out your duties on the field. You've been a great addition for the Sioux Falls Storm.
Thanks a lot, Rich. I appreciate that, man.
Well, again, thanks for being on the Kurtiss Riggs Show, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Okay, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. There he goes, Elijah Fields, safety with the Sioux Falls Storm. A player out of Pitt that likes to fish, and he's a great football player, there's no doubt about it. They call him Scoot. That's his nickname. When we come back, we'll be talking to Mike Tatum. Mike had 4 touchdowns in the game up in Green Bay, 2 rushing, which is a little bit unusual for a wide receiver. We'll also talk to him about his collegiate career playing football, or maybe not playing football. But in our break, we'll take your third caller at 336-1230, 336-1230 for the Wingstop ticket giveaway. And it's more than a meal, it's a flavor experience. And you're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show right here on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN.
When you think rugged. When you think tough. When you think big. Think of the best transportation solutions, mile after mile. When you think big, think Boyer Trucks. Redefining the road.
What's the smart way to refresh your home? Get inspired by Granite Transformations. See how easy it is to transform your kitchen with gorgeous quartz and granite, plus custom cabinet refacing. Schedule your free in-home design consultation today.
Your body, a remarkable network of bone, tissue, and joints working in perfect harmony. But when injuries occur, that process can be interrupted. At Orthopedic Institute, orthopedic medicine is all we do. We work to get you up and moving again, recreating that perfect harmony, whatever that may be for you. Orthopedic Institute, we're the one to trust to keep your body in motion.
You're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show, presented by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and Orthopedic Institute on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN. Back to your host, Rick Rosti.
And welcome back to the Kurtiss Riggs Show. And this segment brought to you by Wingstop of Sioux Falls. More than a meal, it's a flavor experience. And after the interview with Mike Tatum, we'll be taking your third caller at 336-1230, 336-1230 for 4 free tickets for the April 9th game against the Cedar Rapids Titans. So that'll be third caller after we go to break. We'll be taking that call. And joining us via the fan line, wide receiver with the Sioux Falls Storm, been with the Storm 4 years now, Mike Tatum. Mike, thanks for being on the Kurtiss Riggs Show.
Thanks for having me, Rich.
You know, I've gotten to know you over these past 4 years, and you're a lot of fun to travel with because you always got something positive to say.
Man, there is nothing like being the life of the party and making that transition, bringing it to the field, man.
Well, there's no doubt about it, but, you know, that's one of the things that I kind of teased as far as when we went to break after we talked to Elijah Fields. You know, I talked about we're going to talk to you about your collegiate career, or maybe not. And you're one of the only people that I know that did not play college football, and tell us why.
I think after high school, I thought football kind of outgrew me a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So as far as, I'm not even going to lie, I was intimidated to play. So, the best thing I tell kids now is don't let the size, turn you away from what could be your possible dream and was your goal in life.
Well, when you talk about your size, you're listed at 5'10", 170 pounds. Is that 5'10" legit?
Come on, Rich, you're not supposed to ask me that on radio. That 5'10" is not legit. I make it look good, though. It's probably 5'9", 5'9 and a half.
Okay.
It's 5'10" on a good day with some Air Forces.
But so when did you get your passion back for football? And you went to Oxnard. Oxnard did not have football, did it?
No, it didn't have football.
Didn't have football. So how did you get back into it again, Mike?
I kind of was just hanging around people that played football, and it was like a semi-pro and then flag football and stuff like that. So I was playing. Then like one day I just decided, like, man, I need to do something with myself because I feel like I can't make it, and I'm not doing anything else but just around trouble and around people that's going to jail, around people that's been into this and that. So I had to find something to occupy my time, man. And football has always been a passion, and it just came knocking. It came knocking to me.
And how did you wind up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota? Because that's a long way from Ohio, where you grew up.
It's been a journey. It's been a journey, that's for sure. I started, I actually got on playing indoor football from playing flag football. They
Really?
asked me to come to a tryout, and I tried out, played for the team in Marion, Ohio, went from Marion, Ohio for a couple years, and then I ended up in Washington, in Everett, Washington, out by Seattle.
Yeah.
That was my first year in IFL 2012, ended up being Special Teams Player of the Year, and, I mean, when I got the call from Sioux Falls, I mean, I was super happy. I didn't know what to think then.
Well, you have made your mark here, and I think the thing that you said early in the interview today about, you were intimidated by it, and now that you have gone and played it, now you're sending that message to the youth to not let your size limit you of what dream that you can have. And I think you're playing it out, and you're showing them, and that's going to be a tremendous influence on a lot of kids, I can tell you that, Mike.
Man, I can't stress it enough, man. Every kid I talk to, I mean, they laugh at me and be like, hey, how do you do it? You're small. You don't have muscles. But I have the mentality. You got to have the right mentality to know that you are better than that person across from you, and there's nothing that they can do to stop you.
You had 4 touchdowns in that game up in Green Bay, and 2 receiving, 2 rushing touchdowns. That's something that you hadn't had too many of, was rushing touchdowns. Tell us about how you've been able to adjust into this game, how you've been able to make the game slow down, how you've been able to speed up and to get open like you have this year. Tell us about how you've transitioned over these years.
It's crazy that you asked that, because I was talking to one of my fellow owners a couple nights ago, and he asked me the same exact question, like how did I transition? Have the game, he asked me, have the game slowed down to me? And I was sitting there and I was like, have it? And it actually has, but it's a mental thing. You have to mentally prepare to be good. But as far as how did I get to that point, man, I mean, I didn't get the nickname The Weapon for no reason.
Uh-huh.
If one way or another, you have to find a way to get the ball in an explosive player, in a dangerous player's hands. So, I mean, whether it's rushing, passing, receiving, kick return, I made my mark playing kick return, but I came in as a receiver.
But you've been getting past some of these guys on those long touchdown receptions. I mean, you're behind them 3 to 5 yards. Have you learned how to run your routes better, or when to put your speed on? How can you get that open?
Yes, I mean, playing 8 years, I consider myself a veteran. So as a veteran, pretty soon there's going to be people that's going to be faster than me, which I don't think is going to happen. But I have to adjust. I have to adjust my game to get better. And getting better meaning my routes had to get better. Actually, Coach Riggs complimented me on that this year after watching film. So I have to dictate what the DB do. So it's my job to get open. And if I have to get open, I have to do everything I can to get open. That's stabbing the route. I mean, that will be stemming the route. That's coming out of my breaks crispier. It's just, yeah, I got to put it all together. And I'm just now putting it all together, and I'm becoming a great player, greater than I was before. And
Coach Riggs did try to burst your bubble a little bit. He said you didn't have the best blocking game up in Green Bay, though.
I can admit, and I said it to my fellow players. I mean, we talk after every touchdown, after every possession. We critique each other, but it's positive. And I did apologize for them. My first half was horrible in Green Bay. I mean, there was a guy probably my size, and I tried to kill him every time, and I kind of lost my fundamentals, and it's my fault.
Well, I tell you what,
I did that.
That's why you become a great player, is because you understand the game, knowing what you did not do, because then you'll work on getting it better. And that is I think, the mark of a great player, and we're talking with Mike Tatum. But congratulations, Mike, what you've accomplished and what you are doing continually to improve with the Sioux Falls Storm.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. I told you it's always a pleasure.
One thing that we have to talk about, you and I have something in common. We both have twins.
Ooh, I love them girls, boy.
I have twin daughters, too. They're 31 years old right now, so they actually do grow up. So, Mike, we'll talk about that on the bus the next time.
Definitely, we'll do that.
Mike Tatum, there he goes, wide receiver, running back with the Sioux Falls Storm. When we come back after the break, we'll be talking to the head coach, Kurtiss Riggs. But during the break, we'll take your call at 336-1230, 336-1230. Third caller for 4 free tickets, courtesy of Wingstop. More than a meal, it's a flavor experience. You're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show right here on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN.
When you think rugged, when you think tough, when you think big, think of the best transportation solutions mile after mile. When you think big, think Boyer Trucks. Redefining the road.
What's the smart way to refresh your home? Get inspired by Granite Transformations. See how easy it is to transform your kitchen with gorgeous quartz and granite, plus custom cabinet refacing. Schedule your free in-home design consultation today.
Your body, a remarkable network of bone, tissue, and joints working in perfect harmony. But when injuries occur, that process can be interrupted. At Orthopedic Institute, orthopedic medicine is all we do. We work to get you up and moving again, recreating that perfect harmony, whatever that may be for you. Orthopedic Institute, we're the one to trust to keep your body in motion.
You're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show, presented by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and Orthopedic Institute on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN. Back to your host, Rich Rosti.
And our final interview with head coach Kurtiss Riggs, courtesy of Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs. They have the freshest subs in Sioux Falls, Deli Fresh, and they have the best bread in town. Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs. He is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtiss Riggs. Coach, bye week this week. Good time, bad time for the Sioux Falls Storm?
It's a great time. We probably could have gone another week to try to get another one under our belt. But, you kind of logged quite a few miles on with 2 of those road games being really long trips. It's nice after, you go through a quick camp, but a very tough time for us with the players. I mean, the coaches were really tough on the guys, and we're throwing a lot at them in a short period of time. And so now they're able to not only physically rest, but also mentally rest the bodies a little bit and take some time, get away, and then come back. And the next bye, I'm not sure how we'll handle it because we really go on a long stretch after that. But it comes after a pretty short period of time here.
Yeah, our next bye will be on April 2nd. So just 2 games after the first bye. And then after that, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games in a row before the next bye. So, yes, this is a well-timed for here, but kind of a little bit long stretch there in the middle. So as far as the bye week is concerned, some of the players head back home, or do they stick around?
Quite a few will get out of town. Quite a few will get out of here and go back, see family, take care of whatever they need to get done, and just get away. Whereas some of the guys, a lot of guys have made Sioux Falls home, and so then it's time for them to get caught up on stuff. And the same thing, just take a break from football and relax a little bit. And it gives the staff a lot of time to do a lot of self-evaluation. We go back and look at what's going well for us, what do we need to fix, and what do we need to get rid of, what doesn't fit our personnel. And then if we really like it and the personnel is the issue, then it gives us a chance to find some new personnel. And that's Tyler Peterson and I have been working on trying to find some guys that we feel like can help us improve in certain areas.
It's one thing about the league. If you go to the IFL website, just go goifl.com, and there's a link there for transactions. And if you go to that, you can see there's a lot of activity going on throughout the season. Teams don't get static with their rosters, do they, Coach?
Well, Chris Dixon probably has more transactions. It's unbelievable. He used to make fun of Coach O'Neill all the time about the amount of transactions he would make, and you see Chris doing the same thing. He wants that formula that's going to fit what he's looking for, and he's not very patient, or he just identifies quickly and is making the change quickly. We're not always that quick on the trigger, but the bye weeks do give you a chance, though, to take your time, do a little more evaluation, and see if it's someone that is worth bringing in that might be the guy to be the right fit. Because a lot of times, Rich, you bring guys in and they're not the right fit.
Yeah.
They make lifestyle changes to come in, and then you have to clear a spot too. And so if you bring this guy in, you want to be sure that they're at least worth bringing in.
Well, Coach, bye this week. We're not going to talk about Colorado. They have a bye also this week. So next week on the Kurtiss Riggs Show, we'll talk about the Colorado Crush, the next opponent for the Sioux Falls Storm. That's going to be on March 20th. March 20th, a Sunday afternoon game. So, Coach, we'll talk about Colorado next week on your show.
I look forward to it, Rich, and I look forward to the long trip out to Colorado with you.
I do too, Coach. There he goes. He is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtiss Riggs. And when we go to break, we'll take your third caller at 336-1230 for 4 free tickets. And you're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show. The segment brought to you by Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs, the freshest subs in Sioux Falls. We'll be back right after this. This is Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN.
When you think rugged, when you think tough, when you think big, think of the best transportation solutions, mile after mile. When you think big, think Boyer Trucks. Redefining the road.
Your body, a remarkable network of bone, tissue, and joints working in perfect harmony. But when injuries occur, that process can be interrupted. At Orthopedic Institute, orthopedic medicine is all we do. We work to get you up and moving again, recreating that perfect harmony, whatever that may be for you. Orthopedic Institute, we're the one to trust to keep your body in motion.
What's the smart way to refresh your home? Get inspired by Granite Transformations. See how easy it is to transform your kitchen with gorgeous quartz and granite, plus custom cabinet refacing. Schedule your free in-home design consultation today.
And welcome back to the Kurtiss Riggs Show. I want to thank our guests. They were great. Elijah Fields and Mike Tatum. We could have talked to those guys much longer. Also, the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Greg Stubb, talking to the head coach, Kurtiss Riggs. I want to thank you for being a part of it, sharing part of your day with us on the Kurtiss Riggs Show. And it's been brought to you proudly each week by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital, the Storm Official Healthcare Team, and by the Orthopedic Institute, the one to trust. And you're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show right here on Sioux Falls Sports Radio. Next game out in Colorado.